Hello and welcome back to Tech and EduSpark Hub, where technology meets education. Imagine having to print the numbers 1 to 100 in Python manually. You had been typing forever, right? But what if I told you there is a single line of code that can do it all for you automatically, efficiently, and beautifully? In today's video, we'll be diving into one of the Python's most powerful and important tools, which is the for loop. Firstly, let's understand what a loop is. In simple terms, a for loop is a Python way of saying, hey, repeat this task for every item in a list or for every number in a range. It is like telling Python, do this again and again until I say stop. And that is a typical example of what a for loop is. So let's say we want to print the number 1 to 5 as shown on the screen. You can see we have to repeat the print statement 5 times because this is a way we have to write it if we want it to print in sequence. And when we run this code, you can see we have the number 1 to 5 as shown on the console. But instead of repeating all these print statements, you can just simply use the for loop in this case. To use the for loop to print the number 1 to 5 without repeating the print statement, we can just simply write the keyword for, and in this case, you can just simply write for numbers in range 1, 6 with a colon at the back of our for loop. And under that loop, we can print the numbers. Notice how we are having three functions in this for loop. We are having the for, in, and the range. And in this range, you can see we are passing the range between 1 to 6 in this range function. And bear in mind that when using a range, the range doesn't include the upper bound, which means when this for loop is running, the range is only going to print the number between 1 and 5. So the upper bound, which is the 6, is not going to be included in this range. So whenever you are using a range, just know that the upper bound, which is the 6 in this case, is not going to be included in the range. And this number is standing for the loop that this range will be looping through. So when we run this code, you can see it is going to print the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and not including the upper range, which is 6 in this case. And this number is standing for the loop that will be looping through this range function, which is between 1 and 6. But the upper range, which is 6, is not going to be included in this loop. So you can decide not to use numbers. You can use X in this case. I'm just using numbers for a readable code. You can decide to put S in this case. And bear in mind that when putting X in this case, you are going to be putting X in this print function, which means this X will be representing the range of the number that this for loop will be looping through. So when we run this code, you can see it is still going to repeat the same thing. But for a readable code, it is best using a word variable. So that is why I'm using numbers in this case. So you can correct this back to numbers. And this is how the for loop works. It is going to loop through the range of the numbers we pass in this range function. And you can use for loop with tuples, lists, and strings. So in this case, I'm using it with a range function. So for numbers in this range, which means for numbers in the range between 1 to 6, and bear in mind that the 6, which is the upper bound, is not going to be included in this range function. So it is just going to print out the numbers between 1 and 5. So for the numbers in range 1 to 5, print numbers. And this is how the for loop works. It will be looping through the numbers we pass in this range. And to use the for loop with a list, let's say we have a variable called colors, and we assign it with a equal sign to an empty list. And in this empty list, we can pass in as many colors as we want as shown on the screen. Now, you can see we have multiple colors in this list. And to use the for loop to loop through each colors in this list, you can just simply write the keyword for. And in this case, you can say for color in colors with a colon at the back of our for loop. And under this loop, we can just print color. And I'm just doing this to let us understand what is going on. This color is standing for each colors in this list. And for color in colors, it is going to print out each colors in this list separately. And when we run this code, you can see we have the colors separately as shown on our console. You can see we have the blue, yellow, red, orange, and green. You can see this is printed out independently. And this is the work of the for loop when looping through a list. Now, here is a simple task for you to complete. Can you figure out how to make this code to print I love color as shown on the screen? It is going to print out I love the each colors in this list as shown on the screen, as you are seeing on the screen right now. This is what it will bring out once you write the correct code. Can you try to figure this out and see if you can get it through? Alright, to solve this, we can just simply write the I love keyword in front of our color variable as shown on the screen. So we can just simply put the word I love in a string, and we can add a space before the closing of our back string, and you can see this from string concatenation, and we can use the plus button to combine the strings together. And when we run this code, you can see it is going to look through each colors in the list, and it will print out I love blue, I love yellow, I love red, I love orange, I love green. So this is a way the for loop works. It saves us time from printing all these words manually, and this is a way the for loop can make our work easier and faster. And lastly, we can use a for loop with a string. Let's say, for example, we want to get a characters of each letter in the Python string. We can just simply write the for loop keyword by saying for letter in Python, and we can put the Python in a string. And don't forget your colon at the back of your for loop. And under this loop, we can just print letter. And when we run this code, you can see it is going to print out each letter in the Python string as shown on the console. You can see we have the P, Y to the N character in the Python string. And this is a way we can use the for loop with a string. And that is it. You have just mastered one of the Python's core building blocks, the for loop. In the next video, we will explore the nested loops and some cool real-world use cases. If you found this video helpful, give this video a thumbs up and drop a comment saying I looked through this course. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button for more tech tutorial and educational lessons on Tech and EduSpark Hub, where technology meets education. And I will see you in the next one.